All right, gentlemen, let's take a look at these charts, huh? So, Bitcoin. Up top, we got the RSI Symphony Gradient. RSI Symphony Gradient shows you on the candles where the RSI is at. So down here, okay? So this is not price action. So you see how some down candles are still green, even though the price had gone down. And while others, none moving up though. But yeah, some down candles are green, meaning that the RSI was still strong even though the price was going down. So this RSI gradient shows us momentum, shows us strength in the market. Down here, you saw weakness, 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 weakness. Some weakness here. On this move up higher, we've seen no weakness yet on Bitcoin. RSI is bullish as fuck, okay? So I had drawn this out up top, and this is a good indicator because if we start getting red RSI and this RSI on the daily starts to bleed down and starts to die out, then we're coming back down into here. We're retesting 102,000, but we haven't seen that yet. It actually looks like what's starting to happen on Bitcoin is like what we said here, how you build short to go long on these major assets, okay? You build short to go long. So here, we built short, meaning that we stacked up highs that were not getting broken. So that eventually when we broke the highs, you get this rip to new all-time highs. So you set a high and you build short. Lower high, right? So we got a high, a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, broke through, consolidated right above the wedge, falling wedge, bang, breakout. Okay. So we're actually starting to do something similar on a lower time frame or on a smaller scale right here. We're down. We're moving down. Okay, setting lower lows, lower highs. Tight, bang, rip this week. I'm expecting a rip this week. Why do we know this was going to happen on Bitcoin? Again, for the new viewers, because I know bull market's happening again. The viewership is way up. YouTube channel's getting a bunch of subscriptions. What does that mean? Well, it means that bull market's back on. So people who haven't been around are back around, of course. So the reason we've known macro, we were going to stay bullish, is the M2 liquidity, okay? M2 liquidity is a leading indicator. So we're going to talk about it again because I've heard people say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Yes, it is. Clearly it is. Okay? Leading indicator. Should show you how exciting this is. How exciting this is going to get. Okay. Global liquidity. Global liquidity is how much money is in the monetary system across the world, across the 5 major central banks. Top tier, it's a leading indicator. Bang, top 2 months later. End of September, beginning of October, 2 months later, we top in December. Okay, keep that in mind. Bang, we bottom here. Okay, January, April. So middle of January, right up in here, we bottom. 2 months later, so that would be February, middle of March. About 2 months and a week, but very similar time frame, right? 2 months leading indicator marks the bottom here on Bitcoin. You see that? So this top 2 months later marked the top on Bitcoin. This bottom 2 months and a week later marked the bottom on Bitcoin. Okay. We've broken out now on global liquidity from this high, which made this move on Bitcoin up to 108,000. We've now significantly broken through that high, and the global liquidity is well into all-time highs, okay? And we have not seen any kind of bottoming take place on global liquidity yet. So even if this right here is the Pico top, and let's just say it does do something like this, like that, that means we have 2 months from here for ridiculous altcoin and Bitcoin price action, okay? So we still have all of this move to start to benefit from, because this was the all-time highs. We just broke all-time highs, previous all-time highs from here, right? We just broke that. So in reality, that means we're somewhere in here from this move. So we still have all of this to benefit from, even if this is the top, right? Which is going to be this. So we got ages to go. Okay. And so the point I was going to make is, even if this is the top right here on global liquidity, and we start to see that monetary supply start to dwindle, that money come out of markets, that money come out of risk assets, then what you're going to see happen is, in 2 months from here, so let's mark it out and let's just have an idea time frame of when we should look to start to exit. July 1st, 2 months, August 1st, September 1st. So September, beginning of September, middle of September, likely should call the top on Bitcoin and the top on altcoins. So that's what I'm looking at now. So you don't want to do, there's one of two things, there's one of two buckets you can land in right now that is going to fuck you up. You could be the guy who has been positioned in altcoins for a year and a half, 2 years. You missed the top in December. You didn't take profits. You fucking round tripped all your gains. Some of you, most of you probably lost money too. And now your mindset's at, okay, hold on. Let me just get back to break even. You know what? Let me just get a 2x. Let me get a 50% actually. Let me just make a little bit of money and then I'm out. I'm done. I'm going to get the fuck out. And you can end up selling much too early. Now, the market does require gentlemen like yourself, because that's what allows the price to continue to fucking go parabolic as people FOMO in after selling too early. But what happens when you sell too early now, if you didn't already sell too late at the bottom in April and March, what's going to happen is you're going to see your bags continue to run after you've sold them. And then you're going to chase. And then you're going to FOMO back in higher, thinking that you're going to catch another 2x, one more 2x, one more 3x. It's going to go much higher, ETH to 15, 20,000. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to chase it. And then what you're going to see happen is you're going to catch the top and you're going to fucking round trip and lose your gains again if you had any. Don't fall into that fucking bucket. Second bucket you can fall into, you wait too long. Let's say we do top out in September. Okay. You think we're going up for the next year straight through December again because we went up through December last year. You're going to wait too late. You're going to end up round tripping your gains again. And then you're not going to sell. You're still going to ride it all the way back down to the lows, hoping that again, you're going to get a pump back up to the highs. And what's going to happen is we're going to go into a bear market and then you're fucked. Okay. So don't sell too early. Don't sell too late. Obviously, right? Of course. Sounds easy enough. Well, the problem is it's not easy to do that. But so what I'm going to mark out for myself is, okay, let's just say that this is the top on global liquidity. In 2 months, I want to have it marked out for the beginning of September. Where's Bitcoin at? If we really start rocking it, should be something like this. Fib at 156,000 on Bitcoin. That's the cycle target. That's what I'm shooting for. Okay. So we're looking for September for a top on Bitcoin. All right. So we got that in mind. We're just eyeing that out just in case that is the top on global liquidity, because it could have just topped out here and it looks like we're starting to dwindle back down. Okay. So if you don't understand why global liquidity is important, just put a message in the fucking YouTube chat, ask, and I'll explain what it is. But September is going to be the date we're eyeing. So actually, let me put that back up. Okay, so we're going to look at that. All right. One last thing we're going to take a look at is RSI, because we took a look at RSI last time and we were showing how there was still plenty of room to run on Bitcoin. So let's look at RSI one more time just to see where we're at on the daily. Daily's fine. We got plenty of room to run. So I just want to show you something on the daily RSI. So we're back below overbought on the daily RSI. So similar to the last move we had, we came up slightly into overbought territory, came back down, broke back beneath the moving average, jumped back up, and then that was the top. And then we lost the moving average, and then we had to reclaim it. We reclaimed it here, came back up to overbought, come back down. We lost the moving average, just like we did over here. Okay, slightly come down below, slightly come back down to below before probably doing something like this. So there, again, is room to run on the daily. We needed that because you got to cool off on the lower time frames before you can run on the higher time frames. Because the daily is much more over. It's much more overbought, or at least it was, than the weekly. Okay, so look at this. So the weekly never entered overbought territory, even though the daily did. So we come up, we break above the moving average. We make the moving average into support. And now we're just looking to start to break into our move up higher. So on the weekly, we have plenty of room to run. So just to give you some context in terms of moves we had prior, the first big move we had in 2023 into March of 2024, that first top on Bitcoin, that first little alt run, this is what the weekly RSI looked like. Became incredibly overbought as Bitcoin hit 69, 70,000. Okay, incredibly overbought. Here, slightly. On this move to all-time highs, slightly overbought. Nothing crazy compared to this one. We still have yet to move into the green for Bitcoin here. So what I'm expecting is a move later this week, or certainly at the beginning of August, a move back, another move up higher. We're not going to hang out here for too much longer. I don't really see more pullbacks coming that are going to be significant. It looks like it's going to be moved back up higher because there's plenty of room to run on the daily now and on the weekly. So we can move. So this was just a slight pause, which I figured. We got this move up all-time highs to 123,000. Get a nice massive move back to the downside to 115. What do? You flush out leverage, you flush out shorts, you flush out longs. You start to consolidate, build short to go long. Okay? So that's what we're looking at on Bitcoin. One last thing, what should we show on Bitcoin? So cycle target 156,000. Bull market trend still intact. Fine. Yeah, I'm just looking to hit this 156. Okay.